fast and seamless mobile reporting with presenters Wes Adams and Todd Barber. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. Everyone will be in listen-only mode, so if you have questions, please type them into the questions box on the screen, and we will address them at the end of the session. If you need to step away from your desk, please do not put your phone on hold. If you have hold music, it will play for all the attendees. This webinar will be recorded, and we will email out a copy to everyone within a few days. I will now turn it over to you, Wes.
All right, thanks, Krista. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wes Adams. I have Todd Barber here to go over an agenda for the day. We're going to give you a little background on Accord and Mid-Atlantic, which is our company, background on our experience, kind of what we do. We're going to talk about a web-based portal for reporting and project collaboration. We're going to talk about the importance of SQL replication to maximize flexibility and for fast reporting. And then we're going to go over a demonstration of our web portal product. So in a way, to talk about our background, we are both consultants. We own Accord and Mid-Atlantic, consulting organization. I've been doing Sage 300 Timberline for 15 years, I think, and Todd, 17, something like that, 16, 17 years. So worked with a couple other business dealers. We started Accord and Mid-Atlantic about 2 years ago and do advanced report design, development, advanced business process consultant, and we were really taking the approach that we help you extend the life of Timberline or help you get more out of the investment that you've already made. We're not salespeople. We don't really try to sell you anything, but we help you get more out of what you've already bought. So as we go through this, you'll probably hear Todd chime in. So it's kind of a tag team effort. We're going to have some questions at the end. We'll open it up for that. So Todd, if you want to add anything to that, we'll just talk about the web-based portal. So through the years, through the 15, 17, 16 years, something like that, working with our clients, what we found is a lot of them need a way to access information, reports, inquiries, but in a fast, easy way to access that information. Some of them don't want to provide access inside Sage 300. You'll probably hear us say Timberline more than that. We've been around too long. They may not want to provide access to Timberline, to project managers, or to maybe executives, or just need a better way to access that information without having to use a Timberline license or and something that needs to be fast. So to answer the needs of our clients, we have come up with a web-based portal for reporting and project collaboration. And essentially, it is an open source portal that can be used internal use customers, as in your executives or your project managers or your accounting staff or anybody internal to your organization, to your construction company. But you could also use it for external business partners as well. So it can be an intranet or internal, or open it up to the internet so that your external business partners can access data that you may want to share with them. So for example, I have a couple clients, and I'll show you this later in the demo, that wanted the ability for their subcontractors to log in to their web portal and check the compliance, their subcontractor compliance items that they are either deficient in or need attention. Others have been like a service management customers, where a portal for those service management customers, they can log in and see status of work orders, see work order history, what equipment do I have on site, and then you can do some messaging between that service management customer and or into the back office staff or your dispatch personnel. We are typically always on premise versus cloud-based. And what does that mean is that we install our web portal platform on-premise or on your servers on-site, whether that's a private, maybe it's a hosted environment through Trap Online or something like that, or generally speaking, most of our clients, it's always on, they have it loaded locally. So what does that mean for you is you own the data. Your data is in your server. You don't have to worry about accessing that data, or if you stop subscribing to a cloud-based service, how are you going to get that data? Well, because we're always on-premise, it's always there. It's your data. We also use, well, that also saves you money in the long run, because not only are you not having to pay ongoing subscription fees for cloud-based services, and we're not user-based. We're with an unlimited users, no matter how many users you have, whether they're internal or external. And it saves you a tremendous amount of money over the long term if you're looking for a web-based reporting type portal. We also use the portal as a web-based application development platform. And what does that mean? We can build applications, web-based applications, and using the portal as the platform for that. So you may want to be able to enter field POs, as an example. Project managers are in the field. They're going to Lowe's, Home Depot. They need to pick up some material. They can enter a PO on a web-based mobile device or tablet, and it will update the back office SQL server database, and then we can do things with that data. It can be routed to your back office so that they can enter it, or we can push it into Timberline. Just as an example, we can use, what are some other examples?
Progress billing.
Web-based progress billing, right. So we're kind of in the middle of speccing out a web-based application that would allow project managers to fill out their billing worksheet, percent complete, or dollar values on a web-based platform. Whether they're in the field and they're entering units, or whether they're just doing a percent complete, they would see a schedule of values on their device or on a web in their browser. They can interact with that data. They can enter their information, and that information would go back to their on-premise SQL Server for back office to push that back into billing. So that is kind of in the works now. What else? Anything?
As a general, we have a general forms platform. So we have customers that have different types of information that they want to enter in through the portal, not just reporting, but enter data on various types of forms or workflows that they have. And we have tools that let us, without coding, develop forms, enter and save data, and have that data potentially integrate in with the process as it relates to Timberline. So really the simple view of it is a web platform for both reporting and other applications, and it's really a platform that it's a platform more than a product, and it gives our customers the ability to tell us what they need, and we can help them build that out on the web platform. One of the other things that's important about that's coming up this fall is with the new version of Sage 300 CRE, the Sage dashboards are being released. So that is a on-premise, web-based set of dashboards that are provided at no additional charge to existing customers when you upgrade to 14.1. So our portal can be the platform where those are viewed. So you have a broad portal that users can log in and so on and have security, and then we can present those web dashboards that come with Sage now on our platform.
In addition, because it's on-premise and because it's your portal, it's fully customizable. You can create pages, you can add users, you can add all the crystal reports that you have. We will bundle some with you, and we'll get into that in a minute. But it is your portal. It is not out of the box. We'll give you a basic template to start with, and we'll be your partners to help you develop whatever you need that portal to be. Also want to point out the responsive design. What that means is if you're on a mobile device or on a tablet, the screen changes, and I'll show you an example of that in the demo, so that it means you're responsive in that you don't have to scroll to the right or the left. It'll fit all the information onto your device, no matter what device that you're on. Now, obviously, using a mobile device for reporting would be difficult just due to the real estate involved. Probably better for tablet, but it is fully responsive. So, what is included in the portal bundle? We have a Crystal Reports viewer, and we will include 15 bundled reports that come with that, and we'll demo what some of those look like. We can also upload or present any of your own Crystal reports. So if it's a Crystal report, we can upload it to your portal for display. Some of the benefits of using a web-based or third-party Crystal Reports viewer is as I'm sure you're aware, if you run a Crystal report in Timberline, you lose the ability to use what's called dynamic parameters. So what that is a job list. You can use ranges, but you only get one choice for the ranges, and it's always the last prompt or parameter on that Crystal report. Using a third-party or a web-based Crystal report viewer, you can use as many dynamic parameters as you want, and some of them are even dynamic cascading parameters, which basically says if you choose a job, then you get a list of the cost codes only related to that job. Or if you choose a customer, you only see invoices associated with that customer. So those are called dynamic cascading parameters. You also get a data grid designer, which is similar to inquiries in Timberline. And the designer allows you to specify what columns you want to see. Do you want to drill down? Do you want to hyperlink into something else? Do you want to run a report from within that data grid or from that inquiry? So you can really interact with that. You can group, you can sort, you can export that data to Excel or Word or PDF, and we can show you that as well. You also get a forms platform and a forms designer that allows you to, it's for data collection. Yep. You can specify queries that say, all right, give me a job list and a drop-down list on a form so that you can do a PO specific to a job, or to really whatever you need. It's pretty intuitive, very powerful forms designer that you can do a lot of different things with. We also have project files for collaboration, and this really takes advantage of the social networking feature in the portal, in that you can set up different project files, whether that's an internal project for, say, executive social group or executive group where you may need a calendar specific to that a project, or you need project files that you want to share documents specific to whatever group that you're associated with. Maybe that's an accounts payable group or a job-specific group. And then you have some messaging or journal-type capabilities where you can send messages between the members of that group. And it's really just a collaboration tool and to share documents or drawings or whatever you need to as they relate to that group. To point out the messaging and notification features, each user, as they log in, can send messages between users. They get notifications when certain events occur. It comes in handy for collaboration because you can send messages and comment on certain questions somebody may have. The benefit of this portal is the unlimited number of users, whether that's internal users for external users. So if you have 75 employees, you can grant access to all of them. There's no user licenses. The cost is not based on the number of users. And you can have an unlimited number of external users as well. We have subcontractor compliance portal for a client, and they have thousands of users registered that access the portal at any given time. Todd, anything to add there?
Yeah, and really that, our philosophy is we want to put a platform or tool in your office or on your network, whether that's on premise or if you have a private cloud or something, that just doesn't cost you an exponentially amount of money. The complaint we had from our clients when they looked at some of the cloud options was, when I look at the cost of this over several years, it's very high. What we did was respond to that and said, hey, we've got a solution where we can bring it on site, on your premise, and structure the licensing in a way where there's a one-time cost that covers the installation, the bundled reports, and the things that Wes just mentioned. That's a modest price to get started, and then we'll work with you to build out what your content is initially, and then over time if you want to enhance and add more. So our goal isn't to get rich on selling the portal, honestly. It's really it originally was to solve a problem that our clients were running into where they wanted to use web and mobile type capabilities, but the cloud options, for a variety of reasons, wasn't the best fit, and that's what we're really responding to with this.
To fully take advantage of fast reporting and some of the other things that you can do in the portal to take advantage of that platform, let's talk about SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server. A lot of our clients, actually the majority of the clients that we work with, are now replicating their data to SQL. And what does that mean? That basically means we are going to take a copy of their data out of Sage 300, and we're going to put it into a SQL database. Just having the data in SQL with no other views or sort procedures, which we'll get into, we've seen some improvements on speed, exponentially.
Yeah,
30 times faster running a report out of SQL than you would out of pervasive SQL database that Sage 300 is written on. So there are some limitations there in that, depending on the reports that you may need, you may only replicate your data once a day. So if you're okay, depending on what you're looking at, with seeing data from last night, then it works really well. You can also set up your SQL replication to be more than once a day, and every 15 minutes, depending on what type of data that you may need to replicate. And a lot of that depends on really what information you need to see in your reports. Once you get your data in SQL, we can do some good database work as they relate to SQL views. And essentially, a SQL view is a query. I don't want to get too technical here, but it's a query that you would create that shows you only the data that you want. And you write your reports, or we provide reports off that SQL data. I'm sorry, SQL view. So that means that we don't have to go get 100 columns out of the job record, because we may only need 6 columns. Mm-hmm. Speeds up reporting, gives you only the data that you need, and the beauty of that is when the underlying data changes in the tables, the views automatically change. So it's just a better way, or a different way to get at your data. It also allows us, when your data is in a SQL database, to create tables and relate them to other tables that you may not be able to do inside the user interface within Timberline. For example, there's no ability to add a custom field to a standard cost code. Well, we can set up a table inside SQL that ties back to your standard cost code list and give you drop-down lists or whatever we need to be able to report on a, say, call it a custom field on a standard cost code. But you don't have that capability in Timberline. It allows you to write stored procedures, and I'll let Todd discuss that a little bit here in a second. Consolidation of data folders. If you have more than one company within Timberline data folder, we can consolidate that data into general ledger financial statement that you don't have the ability to do now. You can also present data on the portal for every job that you may work on within multiple data folders. Or if you have an HR employee portal that you want to present data to employees versus your executive, or if you need it combined between those two data folders, you can report on that because it's in one SQL database. You can also report on other data sources, such as HR, if you have HRMS, or if you have a homegrown HR system that's in SQL, we can replicate that data to SQL if it's not already built on SQL. BMT is Builder MT. We can replicate the Builder MT data out of their database structure into SQL and tie those two together. So you get reporting on not only Timberline data, but you also get it on Builder MT data. We have some home builders that we work with that we tied in sales simplicity data in as well.
Yeah, I think we have, we have some customers that we have up to 4 or 5 databases, which is a real problem. When we start talking to them, they've got 4 or 5 systems and they're running individual reports out of those systems, and there may be some integration under the hood between those systems, but the reporting is not integrated. So what we can do with SQL is get all the data, pull all the data together. We do that for you, and essentially build these, as Wes mentioned, views and stored procedures, which are just really capabilities within SQL that let us go get the data that we need and do what we want with it. And essentially, we write the reports directed or onto those views and stored procedures, so the users, as they're interacting with the portal and looking at this data, don't really care that one report might be coming from 3 or 4 different places. But they get the information they need to do their job and aren't constrained by the fact that we've got multiple systems and databases under the hood.
So let's talk about the tools that are available to replicate your data. There's several on the market. They've been out for a while. I know Sage has their own Sage SQL Gateway that comes included if you're on a support and maintenance plan. And I think there's a new update coming for 14.1 for that. And then there's some other tools, one that we work with a lot that is inexpensive to get into, and it allows you to import or replicate other non-Timberline, non-Sage data into the SQL database. A limitation with the Sage SQL Gateway, if this is applicable to you, is it only replicates Sage data. Not Builder MT, not any other system that you may need. But we have a solution for that if clients need it. All right, so we're going to jump in and do a demonstration of the portal application, and then we'll open up for some questions. So I'm going to let Todd drive. I got too many things open here.
Okay, so we'll kind of go back and forth on some of the content here. What we want to do is kind of demonstrate, again, this is not a product. This is really our portal platform, but it's kind of more of a blank canvas with templates that we provide. And so what we want to do with our customers is show them what's possible, what types of content we have, and then make decisions about what we're going to build for them. And the process of building it is not complex. It's really just a matter of deciding what your needs are initially and maybe what things you might want to push out to the future. Most of our customers, frankly, are just looking for, right off the bat, reporting. We want to have fast, easy-to-access reports that are difficult or time-consuming to get to when we're just running them traditionally out of Timberline. So right here on the home page, again, this can be, some of our clients have pictures, some of them have, you know, some type of messages or things like that, like you might have on a traditional intranet. We just dropped in one capability, which is, we referred to it earlier, a grid module. This is a list of our jobs, and then a map that can go along with that. Nothing real fancy, but just showing you some of the capabilities. This is all live data, so again, this is connected to the database under the hood, and so as these jobs change and information on them changes, that changes automatically. No one has to maintain this in itself. We put some links here out to some examples of external portals or ways that we can use this platform for users externally for specific purposes, like subcontractors logging in and viewing compliance information, any other information you want to share with them, uploading documents. Employees could use this as a portal. I hear that all the time. Almost every customer we have is looking for a way that their employees can log in and see payroll, HR-related information, or pull up old pay stubs. We can do that with this platform. Customers or owners or any other ideas that you have or needs that you have to get others access to, we can do that. And obviously, there's security built into the portal. It's fairly advanced, user-based security and then role-based security that's really easy to set up and easy to maintain. So ultimately, what we're doing is only showing the user information that we want them to see by taking advantage of the security capabilities that we have. I'm going to jump into something that we called My Home, and again, this is just a way to demonstrate some of the ways that we can present information. One of the things that we're working on and is an interesting area is this area of alerts and notifications. This is sort of just an example of how it might appear to the user, but what we want to do is present to the user warnings, alerts, notifications as soon as they hit their page on the portal that tells them things that we want them to know about, whether it's maybe a job going over budget or anything else that we can think of that triggers an alert or notification. We want to put it here. This is, you know, another way of communicating to the user that is distinct from an email. Some folks may say, yeah, I want to get an email, and some may say, you know what, I don't want to get a ton of emails about these things. Just I'll go to my page every day, and if I see things on there, I'll react to them. Up at the top, we have just some links to, we've heard of this earlier, some of the things that we've done or are in the works as far as web applications that we're going to run as part of our portal. Time entry, progress billing. I'm working on a project right now for a client to do AR correspondence. The AR correspondence in the accounts receivable module is fairly clunky, so they said, hey, why don't we enter the information as we're dealing with correspondence with our customers right into the portal, and then we can pull that data into their AR aging report. So the web portal is just an easier way for people to work than working within AR for that specific function. Cost forecasting, there's a lot of, a whole list of things that we've either done or our customers or we're looking at with them to do here. This is just a demonstration of some ways that users can interact with reports. So right here I've got an example where I've got a link to a report and I put some information for the user about, hey, here's what this report does, which is helpful. A lot of times people in Timberline have hundreds of reports on the menus. People don't know what they're doing, you can't tell what they are, so they kind of run them and determine they don't work and get frustrated. What we want to do is really only put the reports up here that user needs to see, the current version, and then maybe some information about what that report is. This little pop-up called a tooltip, again, another way to do that. When I click on a report, what it does is, in this case, I've had the report fire up into a new tab or window, and this example has a parameter. So Wes had mentioned that we've got dynamic parameters. This is just like ranges in Timberline. When you run crystal reports out of Timberline, I think there's some capability for this, but it's fairly limited. So we have really unlimited capability to do these ranges when running a report out of Timberline or out of the portal. And so this is just an example of a one-page summary report that we've done, and I think this comes bundled with our portal. More geared towards specialty contractors, but won't get into the details of it, but you can see some of the capabilities. Some other reports. This is a commitment list. It's sort of like on an individual project, just a list of all your commitments. I think it's similar to the committed cost status report that you might be familiar with in Timberline. But one of the nice things we can do here is the formatting is nice and clean and looks good, and the report was real fast to pull up. I can pull up a ledger, essentially a drill down on an individual item in that report. I want to see more about Kingston Plumbing. That quickly, easily pulls up a full-page recap of compliance information, general contact information related to that specific commitment, and even gets down into transactions on invoices. So you can see we're doing some pretty advanced stuff in Crystal, and we're just making, on top of that, making the reports fast and easy to run for the users. Down here, we've got what we call a project management dashboard. It's essentially a list of projects. Normally, this would be filtered so that PM only sees their jobs. In this case, I can look at a job, and a lot of our customers like to do this and just show the guys, key indicators. I'm negative cash flow, $13,000 on this job. This is my margin. And this is all sample data, so some of these numbers may not make sense, but you get the idea. And we really get into roll up our sleeves and work with our customers on what they want to see here. And then from this point, a lot of times what we can do, like in this case, is jump off from that particular job. And what we're doing there, if you notice, is we immediately went to the dashboard. This is called a project dashboard for that particular job. So that technique is important. We want to eliminate every single step that we can for a user running a report, because that's what we hear when we're at our client sites. It's just there's too many steps to run reports. So we've gotten it down to where we can eliminate every single possible step, so the user can log into the portal, make a couple clicks, and get where they need to go within a few seconds instead of a few minutes. I'm going to hand it back off to Wes, and he's going to show some of the other capabilities.
Yeah, so let's talk about some project collaboration tools. So this is kind of a built-in social group type capability inside the portal where we can specify individual projects. And maybe you have 100 projects a year, but you really only need to collaborate on 2 or 3. So they're easy to set up. I'm logged in as demo, so I don't have the ability. Admins can create groups, but I can join this group because I'm not a member of this particular project, but I can join that. Depending on how you want to have it set up, you can specify that. You have to have approval to join that group. So just some capabilities here. We can publish whatever files we need to share in a portal environment. So we can create some folders here. Oh, you know what? I'm not a member of that group. Let me go back to the other one. I can't do anything until I've been accepted. But you can create folders, publish some drawings, just click and drag, kind of drop a bunch of files in there, create folders here. Then I have some links to some other reports that I may want to, just kind of a jumping off point. And then we have, kind of messaging, or this is called a journal, that you can ask questions and you can comment, on these things, and then you kind of get a running commentary on kind of what's going on with it. It's just a collaboration tool.
One of the things that, we've got some clients that are really interested in this for, and I know that Construction Anywhere by Sage has some of the similar capabilities, but again, if you're a good fit for an on-premise portal like this, what we can do now is essentially plug into the files that are on your file servers. Most construction companies have some sort of structure where they've got a folder for each job and then folders under that. So this can be connected to that and essentially give users access to the documents that are already on your servers without you having to move things anywhere else. And so it's great for guys that maybe have an iPad and they're in the field. With a couple clicks, they can actually pull things up. We're not trying to compete with or replace some of the things that are out there that are more advanced with managing drawings and things like that. There's a lot of really good stuff on the market. We're just kind of here saying, hey, we've got a built-in capability to let users have access to documents that are and files that are on your servers, so we give you that. And I've got a couple clients that use this and really like it. Again, it's not trying to be comparable with some of the more advanced things on the market, but it's a nice capability that you might want to drop on your portal.
Let's talk about data grids for a minute. These are the equivalent to an inquiry inside Timberline. So we can specify in a simple query what kind of columns we want to see. We want what information. Allows you to export to Excel, Word, CSV file, PDF. And then you can interact with your data in that you can use a filter. You can group just by dragging a column. Change your sorts, ascending or descending based on what you're looking for, and then apply some filters for, let's say we're looking for plumbers. Let's try that. And then you apply a filter to get some contact information for whomever you may need to contact. Obviously, we don't have any information for phone numbers in the sample data, but you get the idea. You can also have a grid where you have search capabilities, or it asks for prompts or parameters for specific jobs that you may want to see. And just fast and easy information as it relates to draw summary in this case. 15 reports come bundled with it. Some of them are kind of an executive dashboard. Some relate more toward the project managers. Some for dashboards for executives that they may want to see some information on. So I'll click on this. And then we're going to open this up for questions. Hope you guys are done eating. Here's all the parameters, including some dynamic parameters that you can have. And just fast and easy reports that you can drill down into, launch other reports off of. And it's your data. You specify what information is important to you, and we can customize the reports to be really however you need them. So I think that's it. That kind of gives you an idea of some of the capabilities that we have. And I guess, Krista, if you want to open this up to for questions, we'll be happy to answer them any way we can.
So if you have a question, please type it into the questions box. We'll be happy to answer it. We have 2 questions so far. One is this for Sage 100 Contractor?
Yes, it is. We can, most of that data, we've typically worked with Sage 300 for many years, but we can replicate data from Sage 100 and publish that to the web as well. So it does work with both.
Okay, and then another question is, can you enter time, and then it goes labor hours? I don't know if you went over that. That was in the very beginning.
We really just touched on that. As Wes kind of mentioned early on, we have some projects that we've done that involve time entry. We could probably do a demo of what we've got separately. And really what we're showing you is projects that we've done. And because we're working on this standard platform, if probably what we've done is close to what you need, what we can do is essentially, start with that and then modify it to fit your needs. What we do is, we want to tailor this stuff. What we found in our consulting work is, selling a canned or a real sort of product for a lot of these things, gets you 80–90% there, but every company has its own sort of 10–20% that they want that's different than what the canned product will do. So what we start with is a template, even with something like time entry, and then we work with you on whether that the user interface, the way the time is entered, works for you. Maybe it's great. And then also we do a lot of work with our clients on not just saying, hey, here's a time entry app, but we want to work with you on streamlining the entire process into the back office, which a lot of the other stuff, commercial stuff, doesn't do. They'll get, and when it comes to payroll, there's all types of things that every company does with their time data before they actually print payroll checks. So we do a lot of work with you on that. So what we'll end up with is a time entry screen, a time review and approval screen, and then even some processes that we'll work with you on how we take that time data and do things like maybe you have a unique way you do overtime or do union information or anything like that. And we'll then take it and dump it into Timberline, and it's ready to go. So the short answer is yes, we have some time entry capability. We also have stuff where we work with other mobile apps. I have a client I was with yesterday that has a field report with timesheet and labor, and they're handing the data off to us. We're giving the user a portal interface to review and approve the data, and then we're pushing it to Timberline on our end. So there's a variety of different ways that we can do, time entry. It just depends on, exactly what your need is.
Okay, and next question is, does the price include customization?
The price currently is $2,995, unlimited users, and includes setup and installation. Now the 15 canned reports that come with it are they're Sage 300 reports, or they work with the Sage 300 database. The customization of the reports as well as content will also, I'm sorry, let me back up. We'll also train you on how to set up pages, how to publish new reports, how to do a lot of things. Set up users. Yeah, set up users. Everything that your admin that you can do on site. For customization of reports would be just like you would normally do on any Sage 300 consulting engagement. That would be consulting time for that. Just like if you had to customize a canned report. But we'll put some time into training you so that you can do a lot of that yourself, and then we can help you do that. But any new reports that you may want, be a consulting type engagement.
And another thing about that, what usually happens is if you have an existing report that's in Crystal, we don't have to totally rewrite that. Typically. So the time that it takes to design a report, obviously, if it's already written in Crystal, it's pretty small for us to put it on the portal. So also we have, outside of the 15 reports that we have here, we have a library of hundreds of reports that Wes and I have accumulated over the years. And most of the time when a customer asks for a certain report, let's say it hasn't been written yet, they don't have it yet, we probably have something similar in our library. So we start with that. And we've been doing it a long time, so we're pretty efficient. I mean, there are some reports that take a while to write, but The cost and the time that it takes to customize the reports isn't, a huge undertaking. And what we can usually do is give you a ballpark, a budget on that when we take a look at what you need.
Okay. That is all the questions we have.
Okay.
If you do have any other questions, you can feel free to contact Wes or Todd or any of us after the webinar. Again, we want to thank you for attending today's Lunch and Learn session. We will be emailing out this presentation to all the attendees. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.